Today we will be talking about Anne Hamilton. Anne Hamilton is a visual artist known worldwide for her large multimedia installations. In addition to her installations, she is known for her performance art, physical objects, video and audio work, and photography. As for her personal life, she grew up in Ohio in a Midwestern family. When she was a little girl, her grandmother showed her how to knit and needlepoint, and this would eventually lead her to study textile design at the University of Kansas in 1979. She will later go on to make a shift from weaving to sculpture. When she was deciding, she saw sculpture made her interested in the relationships between things in space and how they came into relation. Of course, she wouldn't just drop weaving, since she would allow herself to engage in other mediums to create her interdisciplinary art that we know today. One thing about her is that she prefers for others to call her a maker rather than an artist. She self-identifies as a reader of many things, including a reader of space, a reader of objects, a reader of literary criticism, a reader of poetry, and even a reader of dictionaries. Which is why we see reading, words, and books often happening or taking place throughout all kinds of her various works. Some of the themes we see that she covers throughout her works are about humanity, gender, and the power and suffering of the body. Again, Hamilton is most known for her interactive performances that most of the time involve the use of all your senses, especially smell and sound, to connect and engage. She is known for her site-responsive process, meaning she encourages the integration of the people in her community to explore her works and the spaces they are in. In almost all her works, especially her installation pieces, the individuals engage in simple, repetitive tasks that can be seen as normal, while at other times odd. One of her earliest installation pieces was called Suitably Positioned, made in 1984. Anne made a toothpick suit from men's thrifted store suits and a bunch of toothpicks and wore it in the studio as the viewers passed by, not one engaging with her. This whole piece was about how objects like this suit connect to a figure like herself. This piece would go on to inspire her body object series later, where she would wear many objects that usually go unused and in a way are connected to her body now. More of her recent work focuses less on materials and more on reading, speaking, and listening.
Anne Hamilton's work lives in what she calls a perpetual present, where time is not linear and actions don't just follow a script. Many of her installations aren't just spaces to see, but spaces to feel, pause, think, and participate. She elevates actions that are often dismissed, such as women's domestic skills like sewing and knitting, and brings them into a public scale. Her art is deeply collaborative, and every project is shaped by the people she works with and the realities of the institutions that host her work. One example of this is her piece Habitus, displayed in the Municipal Pier 9 in Philadelphia, where Hamilton transformed a blank space and turned it into a landscape of memory, labor, and sensory experience. This piece investigates the relationship between material culture and social space. In this piece, massive pieces of cloth are hung from the ceilings like sails or curtains to represent domestic, theatrical, or industrial references. On the ground, there are tables lined with garments and textile tools, as well as rotating steel mechanisms that slowly turn circular tables of objects and garments that suggest the passage of time. Alongside all of these physical elements, sound recordings of voices reading from literary sources surround the room.
Hamilton has been able to gain multiple rewards and accomplishments throughout her career. Her early achievements began with her education, starting when she received her bachelor's in textile design at University of Kansas in 1979, and would later on gain her master's in sculpture at Yale University in 1985. From 1985, that same year, she became part of the faculty of the University of California, Santa Barbara, where she taught until 1991. In 2001, she became a university professor in the Department of Art at Ohio State University. As she has grown more renowned for her work on an international scale of recognition, being the representative of the U.S. at the Sao Paulo Biennale in 1991 and at the Venice Biennale in 1999, she became the recipient of many awards. The honors she has received include the Guggenheim Memorial Fellowship, the Louise Comfort Tiffany Foundation Award, the Skowhegan Medal for Sculpture, the MacArthur Fellowship, the NEA Visual Arts Fellowship, the Heinz Award, and the National Medal of the Arts. In addition to her work being exhibited internationally, she has received major commissions for installations, many of which can be found around the world. One of the big examples of the major projects she has took is named Chorus from 2018, located at the WTC Cortlandt subway station in New York, and is an installation as a marble mosaic wall of text from the Declaration of Independence and the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. As of the present day, she resides in Ohio with her husband, Michael Mersel, and has retired from her teaching position at Ohio State University since 2021. Hamilton remains active in studio work on installations and exhibitions.
Hello, my name is Lexi, and I will be talking about Anne Hamilton's use of live individuals or attendants in her installations. Hamilton doesn't call them performers because they aren't acting. Instead, they quietly carry out simple, repeated tasks with a calm, self-contained presence. They don't speak or respond to visitors. Their stillness becomes something we witness, not interact with. She refers to this shared experience as witness. It's a way of inviting people into the space, not just to observe, but to be part of the atmosphere. The installations are meant to be moved through, not just to be looked at from a distance. A good example of this event of a thread, 2013, which was shown at the Park Avenue Armory. In that work, Hamilton created an enormous white curtain suspended from the ceiling, and visitors could sit on swings that were connected by pulleys to the fabric. As people moved, their motion lifted and lowered the curtain. The whole room began to move, almost like it was breathing. Attendants in that installation didn't perform a narrative. Some read aloud from scrolls, others wrote from a distance, or simply sat silently. Hamilton said she wanted to create a place where people could be alone together. It wasn't about spectacle, it was about attention. She simply explains this idea clearly in her reading when she says, "Sometimes things mean what they are." That applies to the materials and the actions. Gestures are not symbolic in a traditional sense. They are meaningful because of their presence, repetition, and care. Hamilton often works with people who helped create the installation. There's no formal training, just conversations, a shared understanding, and a focus of being present. She describes this as a kind of quiet intensity, where even the smallest actions like breathing or turning a page become part of the artwork and the process itself. Her work invites us to slow down and reflect on how we move through space. As she puts it, it isn't a performance, it is a being present. In the event of a thread, that presence was shared between attendants, visitors, movement, and stillness, all connected through a single piece of fabric that responded to everyone in the space.